Hello party folks, and that's a terrible way of addressing you. Once again I'm representing the Doors, there they are, Jim Morrison, Densmore, Krieger and Ray Manzarek. Rayman. So enough about me and my excellent taste in t-shirts and of course music. Today I'm here to share with you a story that I would say has shaped my life till today, so it's a big one. Now I want to talk about this because it's all based around this girl I met. And for the sake of her dignity, she will remain nameless, but one day you'll probably find out who it is because there'll be a great thing around that. But until then, let me begin with the story. So, in England, the school you go to after, I think they call it junior school, after that you go to secondary school. So anybody who's with it in England knows what I mean. Secondary school is roughly, you start that around 12 years old and finish around 16. I think it's all changed now. Don't they make you stay till 18 now? Education slavery, man. When I went to secondary school, I went to a different school where I ended up. That's a stupid thing to say. I ended up going to 2 secondary schools. So, the first one I went to, I only stayed there, well, not for particularly long because I didn't really like it that much. And then I did the rest of the year home schools. No wonder I'm so weird, man. And then I joined my secondary school that I would stay in the whole way. And I joined that a year late. So I believe I was around 13 years old. I think that's about right. I don't know, somebody Google that stuff, but around 13, and I joined this school a year late. And actually that started me in year 8, because we call it, I don't know what they call it. Don't they call it grades in America? Aren't you in grade 11 and grade whatever and sophomore? I don't know, but in England it's called year. So you're year 8. Well, actually, it starts at year 7 and then it goes all the way to 11. Well, it did in my day, in the old days, folks. Oh, in the olden days. That's how it used to be. So we'll work off of that. Anyway, I joined this school a year late. So everybody, obviously, before me had already been there for a year. They'd made friends. They were established. So I was joining this new group of people. I was an outsider, and as you can imagine, I remember my first day there, sitting there, everybody looking at me thinking, who's this kid with long hair? Is that a girl? No, it's not. It's me. And it was a big deal because I'd never seen anybody quite so magnificent. So after my first few lessons there was the break time where we can all just go and do our own thing and generally be uncouth youths. And so I remember, this is something I'll never forget, I was on... Well, yeah, let's see how well I remember it. I was round the back of the school where the playing fields were, the green as such, and I had people sort of gathering around me who were from my classes and stuff who wanted to get to know me because that's nice. And back in the day everybody used to speak on MSN, which is a messenger thing if you're not familiar with it, but it's what all the cool kids used to do. You'd swap addies, which is basically like swapping your email address, and we'd all type to each other. Do that sort of thing. So everybody was sort of crowding me, asking for my addy because I'm the new guy and people wanted to get in quick. And anyway, after I was speaking to all sorts of people, this girl approached me, and I always maintained that she sort of looked like me if I was brunette and a girl. That's either massively complimentary to me or massively offensive to her. I'm not sure. But either way, I was attracted. It's like looking in a mirror. Terrifying. No, she was a nice looking girl. She came up to me and I thought, well, yeah, she's just going to ask for my addy. Here it is. I'm so popular now. But she didn't. Well, she came up to me, we had a little conversation. This is the thing that I'll never forget. She looked at me and she said to me, Zach, one day I think you're going to be famous. And she wasn't joking, she was sort of dead serious to me, and there was not many other people around. And she said that to me pretty much by herself. And I said, well, it took me by surprise because we hardly just met and I obviously was giving off this amazing aura. But she said that to me and I just replied with something dozy like, well, I'm not sure what for, because at the time I didn't really know, I didn't really have any specific talent, I didn't even know what I wanted to do in life. But she said that to me and it always stuck with me, especially from a young age. Outside of family, I never really had anybody who genuinely believed in me or saw something special or saw that I had any potential. And for her, basically a stranger who'd hardly spoken to me, who'd just been watching me from a distance, to come up to me and say that and be genuine about it really meant so much to me. And I honestly think that's a life-changing moment for me because it sort of put that seed in my head, and it's grown ever since. And I'm not talking about an ego seed. It sort of opened up the perception that I had of myself and made me think, you know what, maybe I do have something special to offer the world, and I'd never really been able to see myself in that light. And the fact that she had that much faith in me really just completely opened my mind. And this wasn't just a one-off thing. Throughout the time from being 13 to 16, I was reasonably friendly with her, and she told me many a time throughout that period the exact same thing. She said to me that I was going to be famous and this and that, and she was deadly serious the whole way. We used to have chats on MSN and things, and in face-to-face, and do all sorts of things, and she always maintained the theory. And I really think it has shaped my life. Now, you're going to think that, oh, you're insane. I know you think that anyway, but I honestly believe it's sort of like a prophecy. I'm like Anakin Skywalker. I feel like the chosen one. It's weird. I genuinely believe this. It's like a prophecy for my life, that it's been set and it will become true, because I believe in it, and I honestly, it just sort of makes me believe in fate and destiny to an extent. And I know this is getting all a bit out there, but I really do think that is my prophecy, and I've got to fulfill it. And I think that just really sparked a change in me, because I had no specific idea of what I wanted to do in life, and I just started looking to all of my idols, and it was all around TV, entertainment, comedy, writing, doing things like that, and being generally a pillock. But that's what appealed to me, and I changed throughout the years. I just started going all in on the stuff I loved. Towards the end of my time at school, I was making YouTube videos, and they were circulating around the school. I became super popular off the back of that, and I just opened up everything to me. And I really wasn't particularly interested in anything academic at that point, and I felt that a lot of things I did were mainly for comedic effect in a way, which sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? It's like I was doing an art GCSE exam, which is and I'm not a great painter. Actually, look at what I did there. That's not me, by the way. That's Ambrose and Hose, man. I did a GCSE art exam where you had to paint a canvas. I made a terrible job of it, but it was a spectacle. I gave people a spectacle, and I enjoyed that more than anything, because honestly, school wasn't really where I was wanting to. I didn't see that what I wanted out of life would be achieved via school. So I just didn't really connect to the majority of my subjects, and I sort of made my being a work of art that I thought, if I act the way of my idols, so being funny, entertaining, that I will somehow end up in the correct job roles in the future in the entertainment and TV industry. So I put my energy into acting a certain way, and to be honest, it's the best thing I did, because it was a genuine way. It's how I wanted to be, and it was my true self, and I wasn't being suppressed. And I genuinely was just trying to be quite entertaining in my own way, and I cared about that way more. And it gave me everything I wanted to an extent. It made me super popular with people. People liked me that never liked me before, and everybody could start to see my potential and finding me funny, etc., etc. It just unlocked everything, and I honestly think it all starts from the way she changed how I saw myself and what I had to offer, and the potential. And the truth is, I sort of have a lot of regret around her, because I really did like her, and but I tend not to ever feel I have regrets about anything, because I think that every mistake and everything bad that's ever happened has all led up to this point where I am, and I've got a very clear vision of where I'm headed, and I know in my heart how things are going to play out, and the only way they could play out and be successful, and for me to be successful and happy, for to have these bad things to have happened to me. So it's difficult to have regret, but also easy at the same time, because you can always wonder why things didn't go that way. But to be honest, I always liked her a lot, but to be honest, we weren't in the right friend groups really. We're sort of opposites in that way. She was like with the super social party people. That wasn't me, don't be surprised. And we sort of only talked occasionally online, and also in face-to-face every now and then when we get the chance. So our worlds sort of didn't line up, but we had this really strange connection that we sort of got each other, and we just sort of lived completely separate lives and styles of lives, but we maintained that connection. of complete understanding. We sort of got each other, and it's a shame that I wasn't really mature enough to recognise that and deal with it, because really I should have done something about that, but I didn't, because it didn't help. Well, I just was dozy. As time moved on, we ended up having some very deep conversations together. You know, we basically told each other that we would make each other happy, and to me that's incredibly powerful, and that's always stuck with me as well, because she was way more social and having boyfriends and things, and I wasn't in many relationships as such, and she was, you know, having rough times with people, and so for her to say that and to sort of know, that's her seeing the good in me again, and she sort of said that to me, and I would make her happy, and that always stuck with me. And yet again, another big mistake there, because I didn't act on that, and I said she'd make me happy as well, but it didn't happen. Nearly happened, but it didn't happen. And the real issue is that I underestimated that connection. I was probably naive and stupid enough to think that I could replicate that sort of connection and bond again, and spoiler, haven't been able to do that since. So that was more naivety and immaturity on my part, and so you could say it wouldn't have worked, because I wouldn't act the way I would act now. And I remember a little while after we'd actually finished school, completely finished, that's it, moving on, that we did arrange something to come and meet her. I was going to meet her, and that didn't end up happening in the end. And I remember I wrote this poem actually for her, and it wasn't very good, if I'm honest, but it was expressive, and I was trying to be as genuine and honest as I could, and I was going to give it to her when she came to meet me, but she didn't come, and that didn't happen. So there's another thing, but it was all a bit too late really. It should have happened a long time ago, but that's regrets. But as I said, I can't dwell on that, because I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. But there's a lot of pent-up regret there from me, because as I said, it's not, I feel that was such a good bond that's incredibly difficult to replicate, and would you even want to replicate it? So I left school in 2010, I'm assuming that's correct, so I've had a big gap of time, and during that time what happened to me, 2011, 2012, Big Brother, and that's what I want to talk about actually. Big Brother, yes. I always believed that I was definitely going to get into Big Brother. The fact that I'd actually made it into the house and everything, and how well I'd done in all the audition processes, I had no doubt in my mind that I was going to be the next Big Brother housemate on the TV. And I always had this vision in 2012 when I thought I was 100% going to be casted. There was no doubt in my mind, and I knew it was going to kickstart my career and everything, and that was it. Away I go. That's what was going to happen to me. And I knew that I would get onto Big Brother, and what I would do when I'd come out of the house, whether I'd won the show or not, or even if I'd just done reasonably well, I'd have come out, and what I wanted to do, I wanted to find this girl, and I wanted to send her a letter and saying basically, you were right. That's what I wanted to say, you were right. The prophecy did come true. I became well known and maximised my potential. And as you can imagine, in my head at the time that seemed brilliant. It made it seem as if life it all just made sense. It was all going to go full circle and happen. But as you know, spoilers, I didn't get into Big Brother. I know I lived in the house for 3 days one morning and made lots of toast. I did do that, but I didn't make it into the televised series, and that didn't happen, and that completely threw my whole life course off course. Like that ship there, guys. It's on my head at the moment, but it was over there somewhere, off of course. But that completely uprooted everything, and it just nothing made sense anymore. And then the period between 2012 to probably, I don't know, 2015, 16, I was in a strange transitional place, not changing gender or anything. I was just trying to figure out who I was again, because I'd lost touch with all that ambition and potential. Hope was lost. So a lot of time had passed since I'd even thought of her again, to be honest, after that Big Brother thing and imagining saying to you, you were right and thank you for believing in me. Then I went through a strange phase. As I said, there's a big gap of time there. So I'd say around in 2017-ish, I was in the supermarket, exciting stuff, and there was this girl walking in front of me down the aisle. I hadn't seen her face, and she was just walking and I hadn't seen her, and I didn't really think anything of it, but I kept looking at her, not because I'm a creep, but there was something about her. For some reason I felt as if I knew who that was, and I had a strange sort of connection. I was drawn to her and I had no idea why. And what I did, I went to the till to pay for the stuff, and opposite, guess who it was? The girl I'm talking about. There she was, and I recognised her. She was with her mother, so it was definitely her. And I thought, oh God, that's her. I haven't thought about her in a long time. And I had two options. I had to make a decision quickly. Do I go up and say hello, or do I turn my back and so she can't see me and sort of hide? Guess which one I chose? I chose option 2. I hid. Turned my back, hid, got on with the shopping, and out. She never saw me. And this is probably another big regret, because that was another massive mistake, and I thought about it, and the true reason why I didn't turn and why I didn't meet her, because I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. I wasn't on the right path. I had basically failed her. She'd set my prophecy and story for my life that is going to be famous and fulfilling in that respect and well known. And at that time in my life I was completely lost, hadn't got a clue of what I was doing. I wasn't working towards anything that I wanted to. I couldn't see any viable way of making anything possible. And quite frankly, I'd failed her. And when I thought about it to myself for a long time, and I worked out that's truly why I couldn't go and say hello, because I'd failed her. I hadn't done it, and I wasn't even on the way to getting there. So that's why I couldn't say hello. But seeing her in that supermarket stirred up all these memories from many years ago that I'd forgotten about myself. It gave me an opportunity to sort of reconnect to who I was, because I'd lost the real sense of who I was between being and living in the Big Brother house, celebrity Big Brother house by the way, from actually living in the Big Brother house to this big stretch of time to 2017 of basically disappearing, losing who I was, and I just was completely lost. But it stirred it all up. It helped me reconnect to who I was, the guy who made videos in school, who became popular, who had all these big dreams, who went to the Big Brother auditions, did so well. They put me in the house, like the real Big Brother house. I lived as a housemate. And then after that, this big gap of emptiness and unfulfillment and generally probably unhappiness. And I completely lost touch with who I was. But seeing her again, it brought it all up. I remembered, I reconnected to all this stuff I suppressed. I went back in my mind, back to the past of how I was, and I could barely recognise myself today. I was borderline boring, unambitious, lost and misguided, and she helped stir up all these feelings in me, because she represents my potential, my ability to win and do well, and I just reconnected to who I was, and it was amazing. And then as I was going down memory lane, I found my special leavers book, which is at school when you leave. Everybody writes a message, and it's like I don't know, it's not really like a yearbook. It was just my own book that I took in for everybody to sign. And I was looking through my old stuff and connecting to the past, and I found my leavers book, and I found what she'd written in it. And I want to share that with you today, because when I read that, I honestly think everything changed for me. It connected me to who I was again, and it set me straight back down on the correct path, because I'd lost my way. I basically was nearly going to give up on my ambitions and basically say, I can't find a viable way, I don't even know if I'm the right person for this. And I read that, what she wrote in my book, and it reconnected to me. It reminded me that yes, I've got something to offer the world, and I have potential, and I can do this. And it was just amazing to have someone believe in me again so strongly, without any grounds really to believe in me, although she probably did. But And I just read it and it just fired me up again, and I knew that I wasn't going to quit on my dreams and leave them without fight. And let me share that with you right now. I've got it here. Right, well, I'm hoping you can read that from here, and I've covered up her name for obvious reasons. So it says, Zach, like I said, from when you first joined school, you are going to be famous. And when you are, you better remember who said it first. There is only one Zach. I don't need to wish you good luck. Just have fun. So much love. Insert name here, even the beginning of a heart there. So that's there if you can't read it. Is that in focus? Yeah, that's in focus. And I read that and it changed everything around. That level of belief maintained from the first ever meeting all the way up until that point. Changed forever. I then was desperate to find her again, so I went all through social media. I looked through every single social media site, all friends of mine, mutual friends, everything. Google searches, just absolutely everything I did on the internet to try and find her. And amazingly, she's nowhere to be found. And this is another thing that drives me mad in terms of regret. It's as if she doesn't exist anymore. And I know she does. I saw her. And nobody's heard from her. I don't know what's happened. And how does one of the most popular and social girls disappear off the face of the earth? Obviously she's still local to me, but I cannot find anything on her at all. I've even just searched for her name, first name, without the surname in case she got married or something in the local area. I can't find her, and nobody else seems to know what's happened to her either. And I just think that's so strange, and it's really frustrating actually. I've gotten over all of that because I just wanted to connect with her again, because I always saw her as a chance for happiness, and you know, now I was suddenly back on track to making everything come true. I wanted her in my corner again, and I thought she'd fix a lot of things within me, and I just could not find her, and it drove me mad. And I thought, have I just thrown away the greatest opportunity I'm probably ever going to have to connect with her, which was in that supermarket? And I didn't do it because I wasn't happy in myself and I wasn't on the right path, and I threw that opportunity away, and now she's nowhere to be found at all. I literally mean nowhere, and I'm quite a good Google stalker nerd, and I can't find her, and I missed that opportunity, and I understand why I missed it, so I can't have too much regret, but I felt very down about that because I just felt I'd missed out on such an opportunity, and I thought, it's so out of character for her to disappear and not be social and not have a million friends. And I thought, maybe she's gone down a similar route to me. Maybe she's searching for fulfillment and dreams and keeping things sort of quiet and low key. And I just thought, that makes you even more perfect. And we should connect, and I can save you, and I can help you, and I can compliment you. But I can't find her, and that's when things get weird in my head, and that's when I began to have very strange dreams. And I'm not a particularly dream orientated person. I don't often dream at all. I very rarely remember my dreams, but ever since all of this, trying to find her again, and it's stirring up all these things again in me, I kept getting reoccurring dreams, which I've never had before. I'd end up dreaming the same dream maybe about three times a week, maybe with very slight alterations in it, but it was always the same. It was raining, she was there, and she was in this sort of white dress, which actually I know why that is now, because it resembles her prom dress, so that's romantic, isn't it? She had this nice white dress for prom. I didn't go with her to prom. Another regret, guys. This nice white dress, and it's raining, and I'm trying to speak to her, and I'm trying to get her contact details. We're talking, and I'm saying hello, and I'm putting in the number, and no matter what I do, when I put in this number, it goes wrong. It either turns into letters, or I just can't get it, and I'm trying to get the end of the number, and then she just disappears. And I had dreams like that where I met her, it was raining, she's in the dress, kept meeting her, kept speaking, and everything went wrong just when I was about to say, let's get in contact, let's be friends again. You know, I need you in my life again. And every time I went to say that, or something would just go wrong. She'd vanish, or just something would get in the way. Every single time I failed at the last minute to secure that connection again and make contact. Every time I got so close, I think I was one phone number digit away, and it all went wrong, and it tormented me, and I had these dreams for a very long time. I don't get them anymore now, but I was just very frustrated with that, and it's the weirdest thing. And I've actually written a poem about that, those reoccurring dreams, and I'll share that with you at some stage, but it was based around all of that. Well, the truth is she is lost, but I don't think she's lost forever, because when I am super successful and quote unquote famous, helping the world, doing all my things, I know that through my success she'll reappear, and one day I'll be able to say to her, "You were right, and thank you." Until then, I guess, see you then, and I cannot wait to tell you, you were right, and thank you. See you then.